My name is Cadence. I work the closing shift at a small dive bar in the quieter part of town. The place sits right off the highway, but there's also a back entrance that locals use. It's nothing fancy. It's a dimly lit spot where regulars know each other by name. The jukebox has played the same classic rock songs for years. Most customers are locals, truckers passing through, or lost tourists wanting a drink. I actually like it here. The routine is predictable. The tips are decent. I've learned how to handle all kinds of people. The talkers, the flirters, the quiet ones, and the ones who just want to be left alone. Weekends get busy. But during the week, I work my night shifts alone. No bar back, no coworker popping in. The work is easier when it's slow, but I do miss having someone around. I stay alert during my shifts. We get bar fights sometimes given the crowd we attract. That's why I noticed him immediately. It was after 1 in the morning on a Tuesday when he walked in. He looked like he was in his late 40s. Very clean cut and well groomed. Not what you'd expect around here. He wore a black turtleneck under a black trench coat. Well dressed, but casual about it. He had this aura about him. Like money. Real money, not the loud kind. He glanced around slowly, then walked straight to the bar and took a seat. I also remember he had really good posture. I walked over. He glanced at the bottles behind me and ordered something top shelf without hesitating. While I poured his drink, he asked if I liked working here. He had a smile on his face. It was a normal question. I answered honestly. I said yeah and smiled back. I even made a little joke about being a bartender. I wish I could say I got creepy vibes, but I didn't. He seemed like a decent guy. Like the single dad at a baseball game who high-fives every kid. We chatted for a bit, since the bar was quiet. Then he asked if I ever thought about doing something bigger. The question felt a little odd, but not creepy. I gave him my standard bartender smile and said I was happy for now. He nodded and sipped his drink. He looked almost disappointed by my answer. After a long pause, he asked what time I got off. That caught me off guard. I hadn't picked up any flirting from him. I was disappointed to realize the conversation might be leading there. I gave him a vague answer, trying to brush him off politely. I started wiping down the counter to end the chat, but he didn't push. He just smiled, like he already knew the answer. He finished his drink and pulled out a crisp $100 bill. He laid it on the bar like it was nothing. Then, without another word, he walked out into the night. I didn't know what to think. I know it sounds like nothing, but his whole demeanor was so different. I was intrigued. Still, I figured I'd never see him again and moved on with my life. Turns out, I was wrong. About a week later, he came back. But this time, he wasn't alone. A woman was with him. She caught my attention immediately. I hadn't seen her before. She looked mid-30s, dressed trendy but trying too hard. I watched them approach. Everything about her seemed calculated. The way she smiled too easily. The way she leaned against the bar like we were already friends. Something felt off. The first thing she said wasn't hello or a drink order. It was a compliment. She put on this big, joyful smile and told me I was pretty. Her fingers brushed my arm and lingered too long. I laughed and thanked her. But I instantly knew something was wrong with this woman. The man didn't speak at all, which felt strange since he was so talkative last time. They just ordered drinks. Then the questions started flooding in. She asked how long I'd worked here, how old I was. Small talk questions. But I could tell she wasn't making conversation. She was studying me. At one point, she looked at the man. They seemed to communicate without speaking. Then she turned back and told me she ran an exclusive event club. She lowered her voice like she was sharing a secret. She said she was always looking for young, fun people for private parties, and that I'd make a killing. 10 grand for a weekend. I let out a forced laugh and said it sounded too good to be true. She insisted it was real. Said lots of girls like me worked for them. Her smile never changed, which was starting to creep me out. She kept circling back to the same words. Fun, safe, exclusive. Then she casually said I should step outside for a second. There was someone who could explain it better. My pulse jumped. I wasn't playing along anymore. I said I'm good in a firm voice. No smile. Right then, a group of customers walked in laughing loudly. The woman's expression changed instantly. Her friendly mask slipped for just a second. Then, without a word, they both left. I was unsettled. I told my boss and co-workers. We agreed to watch for them. My boss said he was always 15 minutes away. The security cameras would help, but nothing illegal had happened yet. I tried to forget it. A few nights later, after closing, I saw the car. It was parked across the street, engine off, just sitting there. The feeling of being watched crawled over my skin like static. I walked fast to my car. As I drove, I checked my mirror. The car followed. It stayed back, but every turn I made, it was there. I took random streets. Still there. I was freaking out internally. I knew it was them. I forced myself to stay calm. I pulled into a police station parking lot. The second I did, the car sped off. Nothing happened for a while after that, but I knew it wasn't over. And I was right. Weeks later, on a slow shift, the door creaked open. It was her. I texted my boss. She sat down with that fake smile. I heard the front door click shut, then rattling from the back. A black van outside, 2 masked figures at the front, someone trying to break in. My boss arrived just in time. The van screeched away. The plates were fake. I still work nights, but never alone. And I always wonder, how did they know I'd be alone that night? They knew everything.